Hello, today is Thursday, December 17th, 2015, and this will be my weeks 33 and 34 twin pregnancy update. I celebrated my birthday on December 6th. I'm now 39 years old, and it fell on Hanukkah this year, so my family had kind of a combined party, which was fun. That week I had my usual Wednesday checkup. And unfortunately, my usual doctor was not available, but they, always take my vitals. My blood pressure was fine. My NST went great. The boys are doing fantastic, and still lots of hiccuping. Ever since the nurse pointed that out, I feel them all the time now, which is so funny. And the ultrasound showed there's still plenty of fluid around each of the boys. They haven't done a growth scan. They'll do that next week, actually. So I can't really tell you their exact weight or possible length, but according to my pregnancy book, they are probably by now between 5 and 6 pounds each. So they're, the doctor is very happy with their growth. As far as any symptoms I've been having, just a lot more pressure because the boys are heavier, and I think they're just slightly lower now into my pelvis. Baby A is still breech. Baby B is now kind of head down. And yeah, so there's just a lot more pressure. I get fatigued more easily walking around, and sitting is no longer very comfortable for very long. So the very best position for me to be in is lying on my left side with my king size body pillow in bed, which doesn't allow me to get that much done, but that's okay. I do what I can. I take frequent breaks. I'll get up with Adam first thing in the morning and hang out with him before he goes to work, and then once he's off to work, typically I'll lay back down and I'll sleep for another hour to two. Oh, another big news item is, as many of you know who've been following me, I was told I needed to monitor my blood glucose levels 4 times a day. So I was using that diabetes kit, and I was charting that for the doctor, and I would bring that into my weekly appointments. So I did that for about a month, and the dietitian and the doctor were really impressed with my blood glucose levels. They were always within range, or very few times that they weren't. And that was mostly just because I was testing before the 2 hours after, or I was eating, something high in sugar. Like during Hanukkah, we eat potato pancakes. Potatoes have a ton of sugar, plus birthday cake. So yeah, you get the drift. Anyway, I insisted that they reevaluate, my need to keep doing this, and I told them that, for whatever reason, I wasn't given like the generic testing strips, or the items that I need to use to test, and they're very expensive. Insurance doesn't cover them fully, so I was like, I refuse to get any more of these items since I am obviously not dealing with diabetes, and my levels have been fine, and I've been doing this for you guys for a month, so I kind of just pushed for that. And they talked, and they got back to me and said, yeah, you can stop doing that. So I was very happy about that. I'm actually 35 weeks and some days now, and my appointments are always like NST, ultrasound, doctor's appointments. So it's a lot of appointments back to back, and it's a lot of waiting around. And why I'm saying that is because then, I'm just kind of sitting. I'm on my back in the appointments. I'm sitting in the waiting room for long periods of time. And as I was telling you earlier, it's just sitting is just not comfortable really for long periods of time after a while. And so when they finally called me back and they took my vitals, my blood pressure was high. It was 140/83, and that actually caused concern. At the time, I didn't really relate it to the fact that I was like sitting in the waiting room and it was getting kind of stressful and tiresome. My doctor's always running behind. So anyway, the doctor came in and said, this blood pressure concerns me. Obviously, we need to be super cautious. She asked me some related questions, and she asked if I'd been having headaches. And actually, I have. Not like the last couple days, but like between weeks 33 and 34 for like a week, every morning I would have a headache. And it would go away over the day. And I didn't need to take any Tylenol for it, but it was there. And so those two things combined concerned her, and she wanted me to actually get some extended monitoring over at labor and delivery. She also did the Group B strep test, so they'll have to get back to me on the results for that. After that appointment, I had to go straight over to labor and delivery and basically get hooked up again to the same monitors they use in the NST. This time I was in their triage unit. There was another woman in the other triage, obviously behind pulled curtains and whatnot, but I could hear her, and she was in active labor, and I guess she was there, kind of until they determined that she was ready to be admitted, and the poor thing was just, whimpering and moaning and groaning with the contractions, and I was, meanwhile, just like hanging out, like, yeah, so my blood pressure's a little high apparently, so I just kind of stopped on by to get some more monitoring. And I had to give them a urine sample, I had to give them some blood. They wanted to check if there was protein in my urine, they wanted to check my kidney function. My blood pressure came down like immediately once I was resting. I actually asked, can I turn on my left side, because that is my go-to position and the one I feel most comfortable in. And it was instantaneously better. Like my blood pressure went down all the way to 110 over 60 by the end of my stay there. The doctor came around and we talked for a while, and she said that they did find a little bit of protein in the urine. So like the bottom end of the range that they're looking at is 0.3 and whatever the measurement is. And I was at 0.32. So I keep coming in like right on the cusp of things, It was the same thing with my blood glucose levels. So she said that I have, in her words, a whiff of preeclampsia. They want me to come back on Friday, so 2 days later, to get my blood pressure taken again and, maybe do another urine test. I don't know. I had asked actually in one of my previous appointments if I could speak to an anesthesiologist. And this is just because, I'm having a C-section and it's major surgery, and I wanted to talk to them just like, what is their protocol, and kind of just get some more information and give them some information about me and my history. So while I was in L&D, an anesthesiologist came over and he talked to me, a very nice guy. And I also told him that I'd been reading about how redheads have this, genetic mutation which can cause a different type of sensitivity to pain and to pain medication. And I just told him, like for example, when I've had dental work, I need to have more Novocaine administered than other people. Maybe with whatever they use for the epidural, I might need a little bit stronger dose. Just want them to make sure that I'm completely numb before they start cutting. I asked what the difference was between an epidural and a spinal. The epidural is actually referring to the epidural fat that is in your spine, and so that's where they would administer the drug, is in this fat. And then the spinal is actually going to go, into like the spinal column. They are administered in different places. They may offer, slightly different types of pain block, and also with the spinal, there's a very small risk of getting the spinal headaches. So he did mention that, and of course he said you just need to come back and do a procedure. It's called a patch, and apparently they take your blood and they put it into your spine, and somehow that's supposed to help. Oh, last but not least is at my 33-week appointment, I had my C-section date set, which is Tuesday, January 5th, 2016. So unless they decide to come sooner, the boys will be delivered via C-section on January 5th. And I cannot tell you how nice it is to have an end date, to have something to work toward. And I'm going to do everything in my power to keep these guys in there until 38 weeks. So we're getting really close now. It's like 3 weeks away. I have packed the hospital bag, everything that we can pack at this point. So maybe I'll do a little video on that. And other than that, Adam and I are just trying to spend as much quality time together as we can. And it's such precious time right now. It's time that we both really cherish, just the two of us, before the boys arrive, because it will never be the same again. It will never just be the two of us. And of course, we are ready for that, but it is a huge change. He's been dealing with some insomnia and anxiety, I think somewhat related to like work and stuff, but also because he's about to become a father of twins. And yeah, I mean, we both have times where we just kind of feel a little freaked out and nervous and scared, and we've just been trying to communicate and talk about it, because when it comes right down to it, we both have the same fears, really, and it's totally normal. And it's kind of nice not to be the only one with insomnia. Oh, yeah, one last fun thing is I actually have met some new moms in my neighborhood. One of the gals I had met on our hospital tour, and we exchanged information, and so she got in touch with me and let me know that she was going to get together with some other ladies for like lunch, and this was before she had her son, and unfortunately that didn't work out because her son came early. But anyway, since then, a group of us, maybe 5 of us, have met a couple of times in the neighborhood. Now, they've all had their babies, and they've all only had one, but it's been really fun to meet with them and to meet their babies and see them as new mothers, and they just give me a ton of really useful information. We laugh a lot, and I just feel really, really good about having a bit of a social circle starting, because that was one fear that I had, is that I would just be very isolated, and I really want to try and have as much support around me as possible, and also just ways of being social as a new mom. So that is all. I will let you guys go and wish you all very happy holiday season, and I'll be back on with more information and updates as soon as possible. Take care. Bye.